Nobody likes to admit it, but here's a truth that plays out every single day. The nice guy, the man who's always polite, agreeable, available, and endlessly accommodating, is rarely the man who wins. Not in dating, not in business, not in life. And if you've been that man for years, you've probably noticed the pattern. You give your time, you give your energy, you give your heart, and somehow you're still not chosen. You're overlooked, left waiting, left wondering, and the people you've poured into, they often give the best of themselves to someone else. I'm Serena Rose, and in this video, I'm going to break down exactly why that happens and what habits you must stop if you want to be respected, valued, and taken seriously, not just by women, but by people in every area of your life. Before we dive in, if you're new here, take 2 seconds to subscribe right now. This channel is all about giving you the insights most people won't tell you, the kind that can shift the way you see yourself and the way the world responds to you. So click that button, because I promise you'll want to be here for what's coming next. The truth about nice guys. First, let's get clear on what I mean by nice guy. I'm not talking about a genuinely good man who treats people well out of strength and self-respect. That kind of man, magnetic. I'm talking about the other kind of nice, the performance, the constant need for approval, the fear of conflict, the I'll be whatever you want me to be as long as you like me kind of nice. This is the man who avoids speaking up when something bothers him because he's afraid of making things awkward. Offers help to people he barely knows, even when it costs him time and money, hoping it'll make them appreciate him. Believes that if he's good enough, life will automatically reward him with love, loyalty, and respect. Puts everyone else's needs ahead of his own every single time because he thinks that's the path to being valued. It sounds noble on the surface, but here's the brutal truth. Life doesn't work that way. Relationships don't work that way. And women don't fall for a man simply because he's nice. In fact, the nice guy often ends up in the worst position possible, stuck in the friend zone, overlooked for promotions, taken for granted by friends, and constantly wondering why people don't treat him the way he treats them. If that sounds familiar, I want you to listen carefully, because I'm about to walk you through the habits that keep nice guys finishing last and how to cut them out for good. Habit 1, people pleasing. When you wake up in the morning, is your first thought about how to make your own day meaningful or how to make someone else's day easier? Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with helping people, but there's a fine line between generosity and self-erasure. People-pleasing crosses that line every single time. When you live for other people's approval, you hand over your self-respect. You start making decisions based on what will keep people happy, not on what's right for you. Here's the trap. It often starts young. Maybe in school, you realize that being friendly and agreeable made people like you. Maybe in your first job, you saw that volunteering for extra work got you compliments. Maybe in your dating life, you noticed that women responded well when you went out of your way for them. So you kept doing it. You built your identity around being the person who never says no, never causes trouble, never makes waves. And for a while, it might have seemed like it was working. But as you get older, the cracks show. You realize you can't please everyone, and trying to will burn you out. You realize that the people you bend over backwards for often won't do the same for you. And worst of all, you start to feel invisible because nobody's seeing you. They're just seeing the version of you that's most useful to them. The reality, users can sense a people pleaser from a mile away. They know you'll say yes. They know you'll show up. And they will keep taking without guilt until you finally have nothing left to give. If that feels uncomfortably familiar, it's time to stop living for validation. Your worth is not measured by how much you can exhaust yourself for others. Right now, I want you to pause and think. In the past week, have you done something for someone purely because you wanted their approval? If your answer is yes, type yes in the comments. If your answer is no, type no, and tell me why. Habit 2, agreeing with everyone. A man without an opinion is invisible. When you always go with the flow, you blend into the background. People might think you're easygoing, but what they're really thinking is, this man doesn't lead, he follows. Now, I'm not saying you should argue with everyone to prove you're strong. That's just insecurity in disguise. But you do need to stand for something. Think about it. If you're in a meeting at work and someone suggests an idea you think is flawed, but you stay quiet just to keep the peace, you're not being respectful. You're robbing yourself of the chance to be heard. In dating, this is even more damaging. A woman might initially appreciate your agreeableness, but over time, she'll notice you're never the one making a call, never the one taking a stand, never the one steering the ship, and whether she says it or not, she'll start to feel less attracted because leadership and decisiveness are deeply attractive traits. When you constantly agree with everything she says, you're not showing compatibility, you're showing fear, and fear is never attractive. Habit 3, saying yes to everything. This one's simple, but it's huge. Learn to say no. No is the word that protects your time, your energy, and your dignity, but nice guys avoid it like it's dangerous. They say yes to favors, yes to requests, yes to invitations they don't want, and yes to spending money they don't have, all because they think it'll make people like them more. It doesn't. It makes people take you for granted. I've heard stories, maybe you've lived one, where a man takes a woman out, she orders the most expensive thing on the menu, and he pays for it even though it means he has to walk home because he can't afford a ride. And why? Because he was too afraid to say, I can't cover that. A man who can't say no will always be at the mercy of those who can. Saying no won't make the right people leave your life. It'll make the wrong people reveal themselves. Have you ever been in a situation where saying no could have saved you, but you didn't? If you have, comment guilty below. Let's be honest about it, because that's how you change it. Habit 4, letting disrespect slide. Being a good man doesn't mean staying silent when you're disrespected. If someone steals your idea, call it out. If a date ghosts you without explanation, acknowledge it and move on, without letting her back in as if nothing happened. If a friend crosses the line, address it. People treat you the way you allow them to. If you let bad behavior slide, you're not being chill. You're giving them permission to do it again. You can be kind and still have boundaries. You can be respectful and still demand respect in return. In fact, the most respected men are the ones who do both. If you keep these habits, you won't just struggle in dating. You'll struggle everywhere. You'll be passed over for promotions. You'll be drained by one-sided friendships. You'll feel invisible in rooms where your voice should matter. But when you cut them out, when you stop people pleasing, start speaking up, learn to say no, and refuse to tolerate disrespect, everything changes. You stop chasing validation and start commanding respect. Let's recap before we wrap up, because I want this burned into your mind. 1. Being a people pleaser. You can't live for approval without losing yourself. 2. Agreeing with everyone. Having no opinion makes you invisible. 3. Saying yes to everything. Without no, you have no boundaries. 4. Letting disrespect slide. What you tolerate becomes the standard for how you're treated. Remove these and you don't stop being nice. You start being respected. You don't have to stop being kind. You just have to stop being afraid, because real kindness comes from strength, and strength comes from knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone treat you like you're worth less. If this message hit home, I want you to comment 1 if you're ready to start making these changes today, or 0 if you still feel stuck but want to learn how to break free. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.